So I'm back again with another video for you guys, and as promised, I am doing the video about the Suzuki GSX-R 600cc super sport bike and how I actually managed to get this bike before even going and passing my test, before even doing a theory test, for example, and only have ever ridden a 125cc bike beforehand. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel down below and hit the bell button to stay tuned. Or if you haven't seen the previous video beforehand, where I basically show the entire arsenal of my bikes, my cars, and everything that I currently have, please go watch that one beforehand. But now I'm going to get straight into the story about how I actually managed to get this.
Okay.
Well, I passed out from the RoyalMarines, and I was 18 when I passed out, or maybe 17. I don't know. 18? I think it was 18. I'm getting a nod from the camera woman here saying it was 18. So I think I was 18. Right, okay, so I was 18 years old, which quite clearly, if you know anything about bikes, you know that you actually wouldn't be old enough to even own a 600cc bike, let alone a Suzuki GSX-R 600, which is one of the most powerful 600cc bikes you can actually get, especially at that time. This is a 2003, although it looks absolutely immaculate and it rides like brand new with only 15,000 miles on it. It is a 2003. So, back to the story. I passed out when I was 18 years old. I then got sent straight up north to do my driving qualifications, which was the new thing at the time. When I was in the Corps, they were sending you to go get all your big lorry licenses and stuff so you can drive the SVs and stuff. So, I was way up north in Leckensfield. I don't know if anyone knows about it. It's fucking miles away from where I live. And didn't have a car at the time, or maybe I did, but I didn't drive it. I'm not really too sure. I can't really remember, but I was taxiing and I was using purely trains. In Leckensfield, you didn't have your summer off or your Easter off or nothing like that. You only had the weekend, so I pretty made it my mission to mostly come home every single weekend I was at Leckensfield. When it was Friday, or whenever the day ended, as soon as it ended on the Friday, I would get on the train and I would basically go straight home. I would get a taxi to the train station or walk to the train station, get a train straight home. But I've always loved bikes. I had a 125cc, which was a Honda CBR. It was an awesome bike. Obviously nothing like a 600cc. When I'm saying it was an awesome bike, it obviously topped out at whatever the 125 top out as, which was barely getting to 60 miles an hour. At a push, you know, it'd probably take about half an hour to even get up there. Oh my god! I was looking for these Suzukis because I had always liked the Suzukis, you know. I was thinking, oh my god, this is my dream bike. And I saw a black Suzuki actually up with a power commander already fitted, which is basically tuning the bike. It was black and silver, and it was up for 2,500, I believe.
Wasn't that delicious?
That was my aim. I was thinking I was going to go and I was going to get this black Suzuki. However, on that Friday when I'd been speaking to the dude, he ended up telling me that he had just sold it to someone else. Probably fair enough, like someone tips up at your house and they've got the cash good to go, you're going to end up selling it. But then I was still on the prowl and I ended up finding this one because they were all about 3,000, 3,500 at the time. So I was actually looking at this one, which again was about 2,500 from what I remember. I thought, right, bang, I'm going to have to get it. This was in Biggleswade, which is, again, 4 hours, maybe 3 hours away from where I live. Now, what I done was, didn't tell anybody that I was coming to get this bike, right?
Oh no.
That's a key element to this. Didn't tell anyone that I was going to get this bike. I was by myself. I got the train from up north, up here, to wherever Leckensfield is. I trained all the way down here to where Biggleswade was, and I live down here, right? And basically, I hopped out of the train station. My phone was literally about to die. I had no charge. The guy, for some reason, my 18-year-old brain thought it would be an awesome idea to let this random dude, who I had no idea who it was, come and pick me up from the train station, drive me to his house, which was God knows how long, I don't know, 20 minutes, 30 minutes maybe, drive me to his house.
I said to myself, no, I'm a dumb motherfucker.
To which I then hopped out. I don't know what I was going to do if I didn't buy this bike, to be honest with you. I then hopped out the car, went over to his garden. Luckily, he was actually a legit person. He didn't murder me. and he just generally wanted to sell the bike. I asked him why he was selling the bike. Obviously, that's kind of what you do every time you buy something second-hand of someone. He told me that he had bought this bike in aims to be with a cool gang with his work lot, and essentially it was far too fast for him. He said it scared him. He didn't like how fast it was. He couldn't handle the speed, but he got it off of his neighbour. Again, it's a pertinent point. He got it off his neighbour. His neighbour looked after it, and he knows that his neighbour was always out there cleaning it and servicing it, everything, blah, blah, blah. By this time, I have the bike by the side of the road, right? This exact bike by the side of the road. I'm there at his boot of the car because he was giving me a helmet. I actually have the helmet somewhere. He said, I have this helmet with the bike, which you can have if you want. I did bring my own helmet, so I can't remember if I ditched the other helmet or what, but basically, no, I think I had the helmet. I think I kept the helmet in a bag. I had a bag with me. And the original exhaust, which he gave me as well, I put into the bag, but obviously an exhaust is pretty big, especially a stock original exhaust for a 2003 bike. It's probably about that big, this big to be precise. This is about the size of the exhaust that he gave me, right? Pretty much exactly like that. That's the R6 one, but pretty much exactly like that. So that was sticking out the top of my bag, as well as the helmet being in there, and all of my stuff that I was taking home for the weekend, obviously. Back to the road. We're standing there, and he's like, yeah, do you want to buy it then? And I'm like, yeah, I want to fucking buy it. Let's do this shit. So I had to draw money out from different cash points because I don't know if it was that age or what, but it just didn't like the fact that I was trying to draw out more than I'd ever drawn out in my entire life. And then I had to send the rest to him via bank transfer. So yeah, that was all going down. And as this was going down and the bike was there, maybe a few meters ahead of me on the road, it was a pretty quiet road. Like no one was really walking down there or nothing. And I seen this dude coming along the path which we were on, right? Bearing in mind the keys are still in the bike. The keys are in the bike. It's not started, but the keys are in the bike. I had started it up, but this dude was coming down the path. And as this dude got closer, he was looking over, looking right at us, and I was standing in the path still, packing my bag and shit. And he goes, oh, you're selling the bike to the man, right? You're selling the bike. Or you're buying the bike to me, whatever he was saying. It was basically seeming like, oh, it's his neighbour who he bought the bike off of originally. That's what it felt like to me, right? So I was thinking, oh, he knows this guy, you know, it's all good. And then the guy kind of like was acting more and more shady. And the guy who I was buying the bike off was kind of starting to act like, looking at me a little bit, as if to be like, I don't know who this is. And then it's kind of clicked in my brain that, you know, the key is still in the bike. This guy's saying, yeah, it's a lovely bike, it's a lovely bike. And then he starts asking weird questions like, did you come down here by yourself? Are you with anyone? To which point I was like, yes, yeah, my boys are just at the fucking shop round the corner. I didn't know where the fuck I was. I didn't know if there was a shop round the corner or what, but I just went, yeah. Nah, the boys are just down the shop round the corner.
Got him!
And I'm fucking off out of it. And at the same time as me saying that, I walked over to the bike, taking the key out, and was like, yeah, I don't know, yeah, son. And as soon as that guy then scurried off quick time, I pretty much knew that he was going to be back within minutes with a load of people to steal my fucking bike. That was fucking obvious to me. So I just yeeted the bike back on, whacked the bag on, I said, goodbye to your man there. And this was right after the summer heat wave when it was the World Cup. I don't know if anyone else remembers that, but there was a big fucking heat wave years ago when it was the World Cup. And I started riding, basically. I'd never ridden anything bigger than a 125cc bike. And even then, it'd been a few years since I'd ridden that 125cc bike. Now I'm sitting with this between my legs, which is fucking rapid. It's 0 to 60 in under 3 seconds. And yeah, it was a hell of an adrenaline rush, to say the least. I chased dopamine anyway, but back then, fucking chased it way more than ever before, probably. And yeah, felt crazy. I was riding. I felt like, you know, this is absolutely insane. But my phone had died. I was in Biggles Wade. I didn't drive up there ever before. I didn't know where the fuck I was going to get home. So essentially the whole journey back, I was stopping at the side of the road and asking people just to point me in the general direction of Ipswich, of where I need to get to, right? So that was obviously a pain in the ass, along with the fact that after this fucking heatwave, there was a massive fuck off storm, because that's what happens after a heatwave, and it hit right as I was half an hour into my fucking journey.
If he dies, he dies.
Now it's real fucking late. It's pitch black. I have no phone. I'm on a fucking Suzuki GSX-R. Again, this part is generally for the story purposes. It's obviously all for entertainment purposes, and I am completely lying. But obviously, I was not old enough to have this bike. I was also... No, I shouldn't be saying it, should I? Obviously, I was completely insured on this bike, and obviously, I was completely old enough, and I definitely de-restricted the engine before I even got onto it, and I put the road tax and everything on there. Do you know what I mean? I definitely made sure all of that stuff was on the bike, and it was completely legit at that point, and it was pissing it down. And then I got chucked off of the main road, which I was onto, which I thought was the way that I was going home, which I wasn't 100% sure. I was just thinking it was. Into Cambridge, to which I pulled up to the side of the road again, probably for the 10th time, to ask someone for directions, and I pulled up to a Harley rider on a massive custom chopper, purring along, right? He was on the side of the road, he's on his phone, and he said, oh yeah, I got chucked off of the main road as well, so now I found myself riding around Cambridge with a fucking Harley rider on this Super Sport, at that age what I was, with the fucking exhaust hanging out the back, with no credentials that I was probably meant to have, and yeah, we were just cruising about trying to find a way back onto the main road.
Obviously, that's the perfect scenario.
So eventually got back into the main road, blipped past him, little wave, off I go, bang, pissing it down, paced it all the way back home, got home at God knows what time it was, maybe like 1 in the morning or something like that, to which point I was still living with my parents, and the people back home, everyone was kind of getting a bit sketched out, to the point where they were like, well, we're going to have to call the police in a minute.
Calm down!
Because the last message that they received off of me was that I was returning home on the train. I never even said that I was coming to get this bike. And usually I would only be a few hours on the train, maybe like 4 hours, 5 hours max. I was probably at more like 10 hours or something ridiculous now, after all these antiques had happened. So anyway, to say the least, I got off lightly with a little slap for basically scaring people. And yeah, the Jigsaw got home, and I still have it to this day. I've now owned it for about a decade, and I'm trying to make sure that everything is running sweet on it. That's why I've got the side panel off, because I changed the state of the rectifier, the injectors. Basically, I've changed a whole heap of stuff to make sure it's going to be running smooth, because it was in storage for a little while whilst I was based away. And now I've got all the correct stuff and correct credentials that I need to be able to ride all of these bikes and things properly. So there it is. There's the story about me getting this Jigsaw. And that is obviously a crazy story for entertainment purposes. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. Again, hit the like button, comment, subscribe. Let me know what was your first bike in the story below. And until next time, let's make some gains. Boom.